Signature moves and finishers, every wrestler has their own set of unique moves. They all have signature moves that they use during a match. Some wrestlers even have more than one signature move. And then they have their finisher, their ultimate move that they use to end the match. That's what we're focusing on today, the finishers. In wrestling, you can never have enough finishers. It's a good thing to have a few up your sleeve. You should always be able to adapt to any situation. If your first finisher doesn't work, you gotta have a backup plan. It's usually a pretty big part of the story whenever a wrestler brings it out. To perform the last ride, you lift your opponent up and you rotate them around while slamming them down. It looks kind of like the sharpshooter, but instead of the person rotating around the post, you're rotating around the post. To execute the figure four, you lock your legs behind your opponent's legs and you pull hard. It's simple, it's easy to understand, and it's really painful. You wrap your legs around your opponent's legs and you pull hard. It looks like the figure four, but it's different because you're applying pressure with your knees instead of your feet. And you're also hooking your body around the opponent instead of just having your legs hooked. You grab your opponent's head, you spin them around, and you drive them down. Sounds pretty basic, right? Well, the reason why it is the best finisher of all time is because of the impact it had on the business. The stunner was more than just a wrestling move. It was a symbol of attitude. It represented the rebellious spirit of the late 90s. When Austin would hit that stunner, the crowd would go wild. And that's because they knew their hero had arrived. The stunner wasn't just a wrestling move. It was a cultural phenomenon. The impact that the stunner had on the wrestling business cannot be overstated. It made stars out of ordinary wrestlers. It helped to revitalize the entire industry. And it gave fans a symbol of hope in a world that often seems so hopeless. For that, the stunner will forever be known as the greatest finisher of all time. All you have to do is grab your opponent's head, squeeze tight, and try and drive them into the mat. You can keep it locked in as long as you want. And when you let go, your opponent is going to be in some serious pain. It's a submission move. You try and force your opponent to tap out. Now, the best part about the figure four is that it can be applied in so many different ways. You lift your opponent up and you slam them down. It's arguably one of the most recognizable moves in all of wrestling. All you have to do is jump off the top rope and hit your opponent with a spinning side kick. Looks pretty simple, right? Well, the reason why it's so effective is because of the way that you apply it. You don't just jump off the top rope and kick your opponent. You wait till the last possible second before delivering the kick. Keep your opponent guessing, and when they let their guard down, you strike. Sounds pretty basic, right? Well, the reason why this move is so effective is because of the way that you apply it. You don't just slam your opponent down. You actually swing them in a circular fashion before dropping them down. And when you do it right, it looks absolutely devastating. And the fact that it's not your typical powerbomb is what makes it so great. You can use it as a finisher against almost anyone. AJ Styles has used the Styles Clash to put away the likes of John Cena, Roman Reigns, The Miz, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, Daniel Bryan, Chris Jericho, and the list goes on and on. What's an amazing finisher? It's not just a single move, it's a whole arsenal of moves. There's the traditional figure four, there's the figure four leg lock, there's the figure for DDT, there's the figure for backbreaker, there's the figure for powerbomb, there's the figure for cutter, there's the figure for brainbuster. You can even use it as a submission version of the spike piledriver. It's unbelievable how many variations there are to this move. It's no wonder why it's one of the best finishers of all time. This move is The Undertaker's signature move. He used it countless times to put away his opponents. He used it on Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25. He used it on Triple H at WrestleMania. He used it on Mark Henry at Extreme Rules 2012. And he even used it on Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 31. Even though the Tombstone is a more popular and well-known move, I actually prefer the Last Ride. It looks a little more devastating. You also get a better variety of finishes with the Last Ride. You can do the Last Ride powerbomb, the Last Ride, chokeslam, the Last Ride, spear. You can even follow it up with the Hell's Gate. The possibilities are endless. The torture rack is kind of a sleeper hold, but instead of having the other leg over the head, you just take both legs and hoist them up like a backpack. This is a move that Ted DiBiase would use to put away smaller opponents. Basically, $1 Million Dream was just a regular old cross-colored sleeper hold. It wasn't the most exciting move, but it didn't need to be, because Ted DiBiase usually won his matches by countout. He would put the $1 Million Dream on his opponent and then slowly walk away until the ref started counting. The only way to stop the $1 Million Dream was to pay the man, which isn't exactly something that most people could do. But hey, the $1 Million Dream was effective, and that's all that mattered to Ted. It makes sense why wrestlers use it as a finisher. You can keep it locked in as long as you want. The longer you hold it, the more damage you inflict. And once you let go, your opponent is going to feel it. Now, there's a lot of different ways to bring someone down from the torture rack. You can drop them straight down on their head. You can slam them down with a powerbomb. You can even kick them down like Big Show did to the Big Boss Man back in 2000. There are a lot of different options, and I love them all. What if your opponent kicks out of it? What if your opponent reverses it? What if your opponent does something unexpected? Need to be ready for anything. You got the arm across the throat, you squeeze tight, and you try and drive them down face first into the mat. The problem with this move is that it's very submission-based. You can't really set up the move without your opponent tapping out. Unless you catch your opponent off guard, they probably won't tap. So you gotta use some tricks. Use some misdirection. Maybe bait them into it. Make them think you're going for something else. And then surprise them with the accolade. And if you don't have a plan B, then you might find yourself in a bad situation. But if you do have a variety of finishers at your disposal, then you can be more unpredictable and dangerous. Your opponents will never know what to expect. One wrong move, and you could be tapping out or getting pinned. These are my top 10 finishers. Coming in hot at number 10 is the torture rack. This is a very underused move. You don't see it too often. Number 9, the accolade. It's pretty much the same thing as the torture rack. It's basically a front-colored choke. No. 8, the last ride. This is a move that's similar to the tombstone, but it's different enough to where it's its own thing. At no. 7 is the $1 Million Dream. Coming in at no. 6 is the figure 4. This is a move made famous by Ric Flair. No. 5. The full Nelson. This is another submission-based move that's really effective. No. 4. The sharpshooter. This is a submission maneuver made famous by Bret Hart. It's pretty simple, but it's very effective. No. 3. The Styles Clash. This is a move that's kind of like a sit-out powerbomb. Coming in at no. 2 is the RKO. This is Randy Orton's signature move. It's the no. 1 finisher is the Stone Cold Stunner. The stunner is a spinning neck breaker.